Since before Christ, people have been sentenced to the death penalty. One of the most famous cases involved 14-year-old George Stinney Jr. in 1944. Unfortunately, it was later ruled that he was wrongfully convicted. One of the goals of this show is to help teens stay out of the criminal justice system. Here at Douglas High School, we have special programming geared towards positive community involvement, like the Youth Crime Watch. I caught up with Amya, Rooks, one of the members of the Youth Crime Watch organization, to learn a little more.
It's an organization that is student-led, and we communicate with the Memphis Police Department to get them out in community and work together.
Efrain Castro is also a member of the Youth Crime Watch and believes that knowledge is power.
I feel like our organization does have like a way to prevent people from, ending up in jail by just informing them of what the possibilities are and what they can do instead of preventing a crime.
The lady responsible for making this unique opportunity to our students, the newest counselor, Ms. Wyatt-Wright.
Well, basically, the Youth Crime Watch organization, it's a student-led organization that the Memphis Police Department has come up with. It's an initiative, and they've partnered with schools actually around Shelby County schools, and Douglas is one of those schools that they've chosen to partner with. And basically what we do is we teach students how to be leaders in their community and how to change their community when it comes to crime. When it comes to addressing problems that surround them in their community.
This program is making a huge effort to impact student life daily. More students are gaining awareness. It's our hope that what happened to George Stinney Jr. never happens in our community. One solution to this problem will be the Youth Crime Watch. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. I'm Mykaela Price, and today's hot topic is the death penalty. Many people are affected by the death penalty. One notable case is the George Stinney Jr. case. He was the youngest person convicted for the death penalty. Today, I'm going to explain one way to prevent the death penalty is the Youth Crime Watch. Now I would like to welcome my guests, Mr. Efrain Castro, Mrs. Amya Rooks, and Mrs. Wyatt-Wright. Thanks for joining me today. How are you?
We're doing good.
I'm fine.
Okay, so the first question, do you know anyone affected by the death penalty? If you don't, tell me, what do you know about the death penalty?
Well, personally, I don't know anyone that has been affected by the death penalty. And my opinion on the death penalty is, well, I know a little bit about it, and I just know that it has to deal with somebody that's been accused or just sentenced to, a lengthy sentence, but it always ends up with their life being taken away.
Amya?
I don't personally know anyone who had the death penalty, but I think that if someone does, then it would probably affect their life very much by it would make them think more on their actions.
I agree. Ms. Wyatt-Wright?
Okay, so I don't know anybody who was affected by the death penalty. And what was the second half of your question?
If you don't, tell me anything that you know about the death penalty.
Well, when I think about the death penalty, I think kind of like an eye for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Like an old, antiquated system.
But do you think that's fair to the criminal victims?
Eye for an eye. Well, I don't believe that people give life, so I don't think they should be able to take it. So I know we'll probably jump into a little bit more of that as we start talking, but that would be my answer. Not necessarily if it's fair or not, but man didn't give life. I feel that God gives life, and so we shouldn't be able to take it.
The death penalty is a way to execute people accused of crimes that have been committed. Question number 2. Don't murderers deserve to die?
In my opinion, I don't think that murderers deserve to die. I think that they should live out a sentence where in life in prison as an option. But then again, the death penalty also has its benefits while being able to lower prison costs by maintaining a smaller population within the prison. But it's just,
I think that if someone has the death penalty, it takes away the family of the victims. It takes away the family of the victims' way to grieve. Like, they don't know that this person is in jail getting what they deserve.
So they're being robbed of their
Justice.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been a counselor for a number of years. I mean, started with Department of Family and Children Services. So I've worked with, like, children and young families. So I think that our environment influences who we are. And so I think we need to think about the people that we are locking up and then finding out what's actually going on with them, because it could be a whole lot of different things. Mental illness, I could go on and on, but but just to stay focused on your question, I think that they need to find out what services this person needs. I don't think it should be a blanket solution to murder all murderers. And maybe some murderers can be rehabilitated. Maybe it was in self-defense. Sometimes people go to jail for self-defense. I know some people who've been involved in domestic violence situations went to jail because they killed their abuser. So do they deserve to die? They're murderers.
I believe they shouldn't, because they were just protecting themselves. In my opinion, I feel like murderers should have the proper punishment, not necessarily death, because, who are you to say that you deserve to die? In any case, just for robbing somebody, do you deserve the death penalty for robbing somebody? Does the death penalty prevent crime?
Well, in my opinion, personally, I don't think that the death penalty, decreases crime, because all it does is end up taking a life, and it doesn't drive fear into the people, and it doesn't do anything but take a life away. That's basically all the death penalty does, and it just takes a person's, life away.
I don't think that it prevents crime. I think that really, on a moral standpoint, is if you're killing someone who's committed a crime, then you're just committing another one on a moral level.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
So what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Because
I want to hear everybody's answer so I don't say the same thing.
Does the death penalty prevent crime?
Oh, no. I don't think so. I mean, just look around us. Look at the prison population. I mean, they're locking people up every day. And actually, the fastest growing prison population, it is African American women. So, no, I don't think that the death penalty curbs or prevents crime. No.
I think the death penalty doesn't prevent crime. It just, I guess it's just like a standing building block, basically, because it makes more people are still going to continue to commit crimes and stuff. So what's the point of taking their life? Because still people are going to commit crimes. So it really is not effective. So one possible way to avoid the death penalty is becoming a member of the Youth Crime Watch. Ms. Wyatt-Wright is here to give us more information.
So the Youth Crime Watch is basically based on the principle of a good citizen. And we know what a good citizen is. A good citizen is a person who's involved in their community. They want to address the problems in their community and then come up with an action plan or develop an action plan to actually execute and make sure that the community is safe. And so this initiative was actually launched by the Memphis Police Department. Now, it didn't start there, but it was launched in our city by the MPD, and we do work with the police officers. Officer Smith is one of the chaperones, and myself and Dr. Malone. So I don't know, maybe Efrain and Maya want to tell you some things or more about Youth Crime Watch, their experience, because I know they were in it last year, but I wasn't here last year, so maybe they can give you some more information, but that's just the basis of what it is.
Okay, so you guys are members of the Youth Crime Watch, right?
Yes.
How do you feel like it has affected your life as a teenager?
Well, in my opinion, I personally think that it's affected my life by just, giving me a boost in morale and just knowing that there's people out there that care about the community and try to put a foot forward and trying to, make the community better and just overall improve it.
Well, last year we had a field trip with all the schools that are a part of the Youth Crime Watch, and everybody got to make new friends at the schools and talk about their experiences. And I think that
Building community is important, you know,
Yeah, definitely.
Teamwork, basically.
teamwork.
Yes. And speaking of teamwork, you know, we actually, Amya and Efrain and the other, am I pronouncing your name
It's
correctly?
good.
Okay, I'm sorry. But they've had an opportunity to do the domestic violence week. And then we do actually have several events coming up as well. We're taking a trip to the federal prison that's really not far from here. I think it's in Brighton, Tennessee. That's planned. And then the last time we met, we talked about Teen Violence Awareness Month, which is in February, which will cover all teen violence, even domestic violence in dating relationships. So, and we want to do a fundraiser. So we have a couple of things on the table that we're trying to move forward and make sure that this organization is seen throughout Douglas High School and that it affects the community.
What do you believe should be done about the death penalty, since there has been a history of people executed and later been proven innocent?
Well, that's kind of a hard question. I think the death penalty should at least be. It should take a lot more. It should take a longer process than it does, so it could be a fair trial. Because in the case, I forgot what was the name of the case that you
George
said.
Stinney Jr.
Yeah, in his case, he was given an early trial. In his trial, I think finished a little bit early, and therefore it caused him to be executed wrongfully. So, in my opinion, I think if somebody was to be accused or sentenced to a death sentence, I think it should be a fair trial, and that it should be, a longer process in order to be prosecuted right instead of wrongfully.
Amya?
Well, I agree with Efrain on how it should be a longer process. I think that if the judge considers the death penalty, then he should have the inmate in jail for at least 5 years to make sure that all the bases were covered, that
He has ample enough evidence
Yes.
to prove that
Accused.
he...
That he
that
committed the
person
crime.
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with them, and I could go way back, and I can start really elaborating on this, but I'm going to keep this short. I think it's a systemic issue with our prisons, and I think a lot of times people are rushed to do plea deals versus having a trial, which is what happens. A lot of people don't even get a trial, but in the Constitution it says that you basically should have one, and that's not given to a lot of people. So unfortunately, we have a lot of people making plea deals, and kind of like what Efrain and Amya said, it's just kind of like these people are getting these sentences, and we don't know if they actually did it or not. For example, all of the new cases that are being uncovered where DNA samples were taken and then they weren't even tested, but now they're testing them, and people are innocent. And they've been in jail for, 10, 15, 20 years waiting to be executed. So I think it's a systemic issue that is actually driving a part of our the American economic system, because people make a lot of money off private prisons.
Yeah, and plea deals, I feel like, are, they just want to convict somebody. Even if you're, innocent, they just want you to take the plea deal because they want to, get money. That's why I just think it's a money scheme, a big scheme to get money and stuff, because...
Yeah. I do
Some
too,
people-
Mykaela.
get money.
Yeah, but no, I don't think people understand how lucrative private prisons are. If people whoever is watching this segment, and even the people here in the room, if you really go and you begin to investigate and research how much money private prisons make, you would be surprised. It's $1 billion industry.
That's crazy. Do you believe that inmates should be able to choose their punishments?
I believe that if you're talking about the way they go out, some people prefer to have the electric chair, some by injection. Is that what you mean, or do you mean by like life sentence or like death sentence?
Like if lethal injection, if they already been convicted and they can't, have a trial, what do you think? Should they be able to pick their own punishment?
Yeah, I think that they should be able to choose the way, if their life is taken away. I believe personally that they should have the right to choose which way. There's some people that choose the electric chairs, other lethal injections. So in my opinion, I think that they should choose the way that they think would be less painful for them, and that's just my opinion on the matter.
I think that the inmates should be able to find out which way is more
Less painful.
No, more. What's the word? It works more, like
effective.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because sometimes, like, the injection doesn't work. Sometimes the electric chair isn't enough. So I think.
Well, I mean, choice. Of course, America. We're in America. Don't we have so many choices?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, I mean, that word. That's a hot word. I think they should have a choice, but I think it should not only include a method of how to die. I think even if let's say our system doesn't change, okay? I mean, and in my ideal mind or world, you'll have a whole lot of choices, and it wouldn't be just if I want to, get shot with a needle, or if I'm going to sit in an electric chair. I mean, maybe I want to do some rehabilitation in my life and have a therapist and work on some things that happened to me. A lot of people in prison have experienced trauma, and trauma affects your entire life. I mean, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing about trauma, but maybe get some trauma treatment where they can have some healing. I mean, it could just be some people find themselves in jail on a spiritual journey, plugging them into that track. So, I mean, it can be a lot of different tracks that I could see, even if we never change, and even if this person is slated to die, allow them to become a better human being or decent human being instead of throwing them away. And
be at peace with themselves, because some have committed crimes that, makes their mind like.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like they should be, whatever makes them at peace with themselves, with the choices that they made. I feel like that they should be able to pick their punishment.
I agree, and it's actually a word that you can put to that. It's called restorative justice.
Do you feel like a mentally ill person should receive the death penalty?
No. Let me take that one. No, I don't think they should, because a lot of times people have a chemical imbalance in their brain. And I think there is even a myth behind what mental illness looks like and how it's played out in society. A lot of people who are mentally ill are not necessarily dangerous. Let's start there. Because I see a lot of this in the news. Oh, he was mentally ill. He went to see a counselor. Just because you went to see a counselor doesn't make you crazy, first of all. Okay? Yeah. I mean, we all have issues, and sometimes we need to talk to somebody to help us through those issues. So just because a person saw a counselor doesn't mean that they're mentally ill. Now, people who are truly mentally ill, there are a lot of times where they don't follow up with their medication, where they do self-medicate, and a lot of other things can be going on. So, no, I don't think.
I would also like to add on to Ms. Wright. She was talking about how some mental patients don't use their medications, but not also that. There's also some mental people that there's trauma in their life that causes them to just to pop the trigger, and then that becomes the main source of their hate or like just anger
and
what causes them. What causes them. So we can't also forget them. But we also can't. I'm sorry.
I feel like some people use mental illness as an escape.
Exactly. That's what
they're gonna say they're mentally ill to get out of the punishment
there have been some cases where people that have been completely just like, normal, that have pled to be,
Yeah.
psychotic.
Yeah.
And then
Mentally ill. I'm mentally ill, so I can get away with the crimes that I have
Exactly.
committed.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I think some people do abuse that law or that opportunity to use that in court. But so now we're talking about maybe a narcissist. And so, I mean, that is a mental illness. It's like a personality disorder. And so, that based on people's personality, sometimes, they feel like they are bigger than life.
Yeah.
That's a mental illness.
Wow. Well, thanks for joining us today as we explored the death penalty and you learned a little bit about the Youth Crime Watch. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Ms. Wyatt-Wright. Be sure to tune in with me next time with a Slice of Life with Mykaela Price.